So I play a character called Jess who works as an MI6 agent who has been working with Carolyn for many years out in the field, and she's now working in the office of the MI6 Operation Mandalay. And so she's an old hand, I suppose. Not that I'm old, but she's an experienced agent, and she is now decided to sort of, I don't know if she's decided, but she's settling down anyway with her other half and is having a child. And that's where she is. So yeah, the show's packed full of interesting female characters, clearly, and none of them are stereotypes, which is kind of fabulous, and they're all slightly unexpected, I suppose. You also have females in positions of power where Carolyn is the boss of that particular branch of MI6. And Jess is sort of in the middle between Carolyn, below Carolyn and above Eve, when Eve joins them. And she's also having to sort of fight slightly against the old boy network, which she finds slightly irritating, but she rubs up against it and she gets her fists up and she has a go. She is, you can't quite tell how much she's welcoming the prospect of motherhood, in that she's going to have to leave behind her career, at least for a while. And because of the career that she's chosen, or the career that's been thrust upon her, you never really know. She can do both up until a certain point, and she's going to do both up to a certain point. There's going to be a point where she can't do it anymore, and she sort of knows that. So she's kind of in a position of, she could throw caution to the wind and be a little bit reckless, perhaps. But she can also see where Eve might be going a little bit off the rails, and so maybe she wants to temper that a little. She's an interesting character because she's quite ambiguous. You don't really know what her ultimate aim is. I'd actually been working with some people that had already done a bit of Killing Eve. So there was a lot of talk about it, but it hadn't been shown in England. It was a big thing in America, or a sort of cult thing in America, so that makes your ears twitch. And then when I got the audition and I was shown a few of the episodes, the thing that really attracted me to it was honestly the caliber of the acting and the actors. They're just, you can see, they're just really, really interesting, and they're just doing great stuff. And I just thought, well, it'd be nice to be part of that if I could. So here I am. I don't even know if I'd describe Killing Eve as like a spy thing. It's really character led, and it's about, I guess, in normal spy TV shows or films, it's the plot, and it's finding out how things and who and why. And while that is in Killing Eve, it's really about how the world of spying and killing is actually changing people. It's affecting their personalities, whether they know it or not, whether they want it to happen or not. That's what's happening to every single person that's involved in that world, which that's a really interesting take on it, because it's not really about the spying and the killing, it's what it does to you. And while it is also thrilling, and that all of that stuff is there, the plot is really exciting and unexpected. For me anyway, the crux of it is how it changes the people involved. In that sense, to have two female protagonists, yes, at the forefront of the show is becoming more prevalent, but in this particular genre, I'm sure it's quite new. just thought of Cagney and Lacey, but they weren't spies. And that's showing my age. But anyway, it's also showing that you can, as long as it's character driven and the plots are good and the script is excellent, I don't know if actually you'll really notice how many women are part of the show. You sort of just go, oh, they're just people. They're people. And what you actually do then is notice that there aren't enough of them in the other shows. It's not an unusual world to be in when there are lots of women, because that's the world we actually live in. I would describe Eve as somebody who is kind of passionate, but a bit bored, driven, but really a bit shambolic, and someone who's at a point in her life where she needs something and she doesn't even know what it is. And this world, this world that Villanelle is opening up to her seems to be kind of filling that void, which is not a great thing, but that seems to be what's happening. She's kind of, insofar as Jess is concerned, she's a very easy person to be with. They sort of share a sense of humour. She's very down to earth, funny, but yeah, a bit shambolic and possibly a little bit easily influenced. So in this season, Eve comes into an office that is already functioning. So Jess has been heading up Operation Mandalay with Kenny and Hugo, and underneath Carolyn. And then Eve comes in as the sort of expert on female assassins, and sort of slots in quite well because she's very personable and, you know, she's. But it's not that it gets sticky, but because she knows more about this particular subject of Villanelle, she quickly starts to take charge of certain things, and there's a little bit of jostling, good-natured jostling between her and Jess in terms of becoming sort of Carolyn's favourite, I suppose, because Jess always used to be. Except that she isn't anymore, because she's a bit older than that now. She's going off to do her own thing, and she can sort of see what's happening to Eve and doesn't know whether to intervene or maybe just leave her to her own devices. So Eve is in more of a take charge mode. Whether she should be or not is again up for grabs, but that's what she's feeling, and that's what she's coming up against with Jess, who is actually in charge of the office, but is sort of stepping back and allowing her to. Yeah. So she's sort of feeling her way through that hierarchy. Sandra Oh is a brilliant lead actress, because she's one of those, she leads, but she doesn't make you feel like she's the lead actress in each scene that you're in. You're just her fellow actor, which is fabulous. She's what you expect her to, or what you want her to be, actually. She's like Eve, she's funny and very easy to be with, but she's not shambolic at all, whereas Eve is. But she's very on the story, very on point, but not in a intimidating way. So, and in fact, the whole environment, the working environment, is one that's really, really nice to join. You don't feel like you're joining someone else's party. You feel like you're part of it straight away, which is lovely. Carolyn is a very enigmatic presence. She's a character she's the boss of their particular branch of MI6. There are people above her, but the likes of my character would not come into contact with them. I think Carolyn is the highest that someone like Jess would get to meet. She's what you'd call, she bridges the gap between the old school spy system and the new. So she has that whole Cold War kind of thing going on, as well as the new stuff that's happening. She's intimidating. I think she's pretty ruthless. But again, she's not two-dimensional in any way, because she's constantly surprising. Just the fact that she's working in the same office as her son, you kind of go, oh, I didn't see that. Okay, and what that means as a mum and as a working woman and as a boss. So she's highly intelligent, and plays her cards very close to her chest. She's somebody that you really want to impress. Jess has worked with Carolyn for a long time. Carolyn actually recruited Jess straight out of university. So she's been working definitely for Carolyn for all of her working life. And she knows her foibles. She knows that you might get burnt, you might be the favourite, and then you might get dropped. So Jess really knows how to work with Carolyn. They are colleagues, and I think maybe potentially they had something that could have become a friendship, but it clearly didn't, and I think their relationship has stayed very much in the office, in the field, at work. I don't think Jess knows anything more than anyone else about Carolyn, other than the experiences she's had with her. And I think Carolyn treats people well if she needs something from them, and doesn't really bother with them if she doesn't. So, and I think Jess knows that, and has learned how to incorporate that into her working life. Lots of respect from Jess to Carolyn. Not sure how much there is back. The thing that I'd like audiences to take away from this show is sort of the thing that attracted me to it, which is that it's very clear that experiences will shape people, and that obsession and the things that you are obsessed with, if they are to the detriment of other things in your life, that might not be a great thing. I think it's one of those shows that it really is about watching people go through something and how it affects them. So it was less about who did what, but what happened to them once that had occurred. As a tortured sentence, but the effect that it had, that murder has on people. You know, it's not flippant. It's not glib. It's important to recognise the gravitas of killing people. It's not just, you know. I were to sum up Killing Eve in just a few words, I'm going to say sexy, but not in a conventional way. Unconventionally sexy, those two words. Funny, dark, and really entertaining. You just want to keep watching the next one, which is great.